Welcome to the Head Guy podcast. This podcast has been sponsored by Cards in Qatar. There you go. If you're watching, Cards in Qatar. It's just the logo. It's the number one website to get your birthday cards, greeting cards, farewell cards, you're a great teacher card, you're my best friend card, any types of cards. It's the number one website here in Qatar to buy your cards. And our other sponsor is Mahaba, the number one destination guide here in Qatar, to find out all about the destinations here, all about the services, etc., etc. It's been going over 20 years now. It's the number one guidebook for Qatar. So pick one up in your supermarket or go online. And today, my special guest is Sophie Besitka.
That's correct.
Besitka. Sophie, welcome back.
Yes.
Well, not welcome
you.
back to the Head Guy podcast, but I think I interviewed you for Your Onion.
Correct.
And what were we talking about when you were last here?
When I was last here, that was 6 years ago, and we were talking about my startup that has failed 6 years ago.
Now, do you call it failed, or was it a lesson learned?
Lesson learned. We never fail. We only learn.
Exactly. So tell us all about it. I'm just curious about that journey, and how was it for you?
Absolutely. Well, what happened was, when we fail, a lot of the things that happen lead us to a breaking point and reveal a breakthrough and help us understand not just ourselves, but also our purpose. And sometimes when we're entrepreneurs and we want to do something that's bigger than ourselves, we get into the state where we force the solution that we've created. So I've had an advertising ad tech startup back then, and I was forcing the solution, but the market was not ready for it. The customers were not ready for it. The segments I was tapping into were not ready for it. But I insisted because I loved the solution that I was trying to build.
And how long did it take before you realized that the market wasn't ready?
I've known it a year into the startup, but I didn't believe it until another year later.
But isn't that the entrepreneur's journey? Is that isn't that what we're all about? Is the fact that we come up with ideas that the market doesn't know about. That we come up with ideas that we think, okay, yes, this could be an ideal solution. This could be an ideal service, etc., etc., that the market hasn't seen before. And that's what we have to do. We have to go into the market and then convince everyone that this is the right product, the right service that we all need.
Absolutely. But we're also, as human beings, prone to cognitive biases. And that's what I had then. I believed what I believed. And a little bit of traction kind of fooled me into believing that this is something that could scale the way I imagined it to scale.
And can I just stop you? Did you just give us an insight into, before you went on that journey, did you do any market research, or was it just, this is my belief, this will work? Or did you, research and find out that the market needs this?
I did a lot of validation. I've run sprints. I'm a lean startup coach, and when you apply what you talk about, it's very different. And back then, we've had customers. It's not that it's not supposed to work out. It's just the market situation and the legacy processes were not fit for what we were trying to accomplish. And if I can be completely honest,
well, that's what you're here for.
Yes.
Please. Absolutely.
It came to a point when I realized, because if I look back now, I know that if I've pushed harder and insisted on it, maybe we would find kind of like a way to pivot and make it work, really. But the truth of the matter is, I did not care enough about the market and the segment that we were serving back then.
What do you mean you didn't care? What? What does that
did
mean?
not care enough about the problem that we were solving. So our customers then, as an advertising technology platform, when we were building it, were corporate groups and bigger entities. And I've seen that and felt in me that yes, we could make money off of this. We could, find a way to help us circumnavigate the legacy processes that were preventing us from launching and getting to market. But I feel empty at the end of the day. It's not what I wanted to do. It's not linked to my purpose. So I wasn't as determined.
So why? Because now it's great when you're away from it. You've moved on. You've trained yourself, developed yourself to Sophie that's here, compared to the Sophie that was down here that could only do what she knew at that time. When you reflect back, what were the lessons learned?
Well, there are a lot, but primarily developing from the inside out, because the problems that I was seeing then were with the startup and then with the market and the customers that were working with, stakeholders, because we were incubated. So I had to submit reports, I had to comply. But then that broke me within. And the biggest lesson learned is if you want to make things work, you start working on yourself first.
Very good. And when did that come? When did that come to light? When you realized that you had to work on yourself first? Afterwards? After that journey? Straight afterwards? Or a few years down the line? Or
about 6 months after we've decided to shut it down. I was living rent-free in my mom's apartment over here.
Why not? Yeah.
Yes, and I've stopped taking care of myself. No workouts, and I stopped doing. I like learning. I read a lot, and I just stopped doing that, and socializing too. And that's when one day I just woke up, looked at myself in the mirror, and said I was heavier, and I didn't know who was looking back at me, and I was ashamed, not elsewhere, but to myself. I'm ashamed.
But isn't that an entrepreneur's journey anyway? Is that they're so focused on the product, their service that they're trying to develop, that they forget about everything else. That is their main number one focus, and all their energy, literally, and their time goes into that. So everything else gets forgotten about. And that's, when I look back at when I first started Ginger Camel, I look at the pictures of me, and I had 2 young children at the time. One was a baby, one was a 2-year-old, 3-year-old toddler. And I've got my baby daughter in my arms, and I've got my laptop on my lap. And my focus isn't on my beautiful daughter. It's the emails. It's literally trying to get my business off the ground, running with it. And I look at that picture and I say, you weren't there. You weren't connected with your daughter. You were literally focused on the work. And that was my life, to a point where my wife said, when you walk through that door in the evening, you do not pick up your laptop. Your focus is with us. She could feel it. She could sense it, that anytime that she was talking to me, I wasn't there. My mind was elsewhere. And I regret that sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Well, another lesson is awareness, and acceptance is the first step to picking yourself up when you've fallen. It's a personal decision and personal choice. And I like saying this. I heard it from Andy Frisella, that the greatest battle that you can win is against yourself. And it never ends. I'm still fighting that battle, but now consciously and more aware, caring about, like yourself, my family, the people that matter to me. Shout out to my beautiful sister who joined us here today, Anna.
Hello, Sister Anna.
So I love my family to death, but sometimes our actions do not show how much we do care, and that what we're doing is also for them,
Mm.
you know, and this regret happens every now and then that you're talking about.
Yeah. So after the business fails, so just give it a little synopsis, because anyone listening, we didn't really give a proper introduction
Sure.
on the business that you did run. Give a small snippet of what that business was about.
Well, that business was screens in cabs, in-cab screen advertising. So we had the ad tech platform wherein people could manage and run their ads and purchase the ads that would go in the cabs, and then kind of like a tourist guide. I was looking at the World Cup. That was 2017. So I was looking at the World Cup, which has passed now. Time flew.
Yeah. No, and I remember you coming in for the podcast, and I was very excited for you. I thought that was a great idea, and I was fully behind you, and I saw that as a place where we could put content on the screens as well. So that's why I was interested in having you on the show and to follow your journey. And then when I found out that, you know, it didn't work, it was upsetting, because I'm always for helping startups, helping entrepreneurs, any way that I can, by giving them a platform, giving them a place to put the message out there. So to see something like your business not fail, but it's not working, the market's not ready, as you say, I felt shame, especially with this market. As you say, it was leading up to the World Cup, surely.
Yes.
But then we had a meeting a few months back, and you told me that there were issues with the screens, etc., etc., and it just didn't work.
Exactly. Others have tried. same concept.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I was wondering why I didn't see it in cars during the World Cup.
Wow.
I'm guessing same issue we faced, but
Yeah,
hopefully not.
So moving forward, where are we now?
Where we are now is at the most exciting point in my life, because just yesterday, we have launched our platform, Taotter.com.
How do you pronounce it?
Taotter.
Taotter.
Yes, it comes from the Chinese word Tao, which means path.
Okay.
And the Taotter is a person. It's a freelancer who understands how it is like to work with entrepreneurs. So they're vetted and they're trained, and to work with, particularly right now, we're focused on early stage idea to pre-seed to seed stage startups. So that's where we are at now.
So it got launched yesterday?
The platform, the actual platform, just launched yesterday, but we've been doing this with what they like to call a Wizard of Oz MVP, where we have white labeled another solution. We've been doing it for a year and a half. We've bootstrapped our way, and a month ago, so 3 co-founders, we bootstrapped everything, made $120,000 GTV.
I just want to stop you, because I want to know when the light bulb moment came on for you to go on this journey, and what was the feeling like going on another journey like this, knowing where you'd come from, what you've learned, to am I ready to go on this journey again? And did you go through, and also on top of that, did you go through an incubation center as well, like you did last time?
No,
you didn't.
No, I didn't.
So this was all by yourself with your founders?
Yes, with the co-founders. Well, the light bulb moment was, I know how expensive it was to start a startup, particularly in this part of the world. And I also have an understanding and a sweet spot for freelancers, particularly those who are in third world countries. I am from the Philippines, and I know that there are a lot of talented professionals.
Oh, absolutely. I've used a lot in my time.
From the Philippines.
From the Philippines, absolutely.
Thank
Very
you.
talented.
So that they're there, and
yes.
They're being, I hate to say this, but the sad reality is the workforce is being shipped, being forced to. It's not like in the first world where I just want to be an expatriate somewhere and, you know, just explore the world. It doesn't work that way. We have to ship some of our people, many of our people, so that they may find greener pastures elsewhere, and also to feed their families back home, just to bring home the dollars.
And it is amazing that you say that, because I've met a lot of Filipino people, and you're right, they literally are working. All their salary, most of their salary goes back home. They've generally left their children, and the children are living with their grandparents, and they're sending all their money home to support their families. And you're right, it's crazy in a way that, you know, they're not, you know, like an expat going away and looking after themselves, tax-free, etc., etc. They're literally going because they can't afford, or they can't find the work at home, so they have to go abroad, and then whatever they earn, they send home.
Exactly. And we've experienced that firsthand. We're raised by a single mom. So she left when Anna, my younger sister, she's 21 now. She's 21 now. And our mom left when Anna was 6 or 7. And for all these years, till now, she's 21, they haven't lived together.
Wow.
Because she had to work elsewhere, abroad. And for me, being able to help empower, not just in the Philippines, but also in India, in Pakistan. In fact, we're working with freelancers also in Egypt and in Palestine. And being able to help them stay where they are with their families, or be where they want to be if they want to be digital nomads. And enjoy life, have the same opportunities without having to rely on the economic conditions or constraints of home. So that sweet spot combined with, so I looked about, because I've used platforms like Upwork and Fiverr. I looked at how it is set up, and I've seen a lot of unfairness towards the freelancers. How
come? Because that was going to be my question. How does your platform differ from these mainstream platforms?
Absolutely. Well, so in Upwork and Fiverr, it's very transactional. You come in, create a profile, and if you have to bid, for example, for to get a job, get a gig, you have to use a currency that they've created called Connects. That's in Upwork. And if you run out of Connects, you have to buy more Connects. And I've spoken to a lot of these talents, some of them engineers, some of them software developers who are amazing content marketers. And they run out of Connects. Every day they sit down and send in like loads of applications. And then...
Hold on, because I haven't been on Upwork. So...
You've been a client.
I've been a client.
Yes.
So on the other side, the freelancer has to pay.
There's a certain, I don't know the exact number, but there's a certain amount of Connects every month. So if you got 40, that's about, so to apply to this certain job, you got to pay X amount of Connects. That's free. It renews every month. But if you run out of it and you need to send in more applications, especially and it's a notion, if your profile is not yet, let's say, no reviews, no whatsoever, you're lesser likely to be noticed. And you end up having to purchase these Connects.
Wow.
For example.
If I pay and get more Connects, can I raise my profile? Does that, or is just based on...
You could send in more applications. And then there's also, I'm not sure, but I think there's also a way to kind of sponsor your profile. This time this is Fiverr. Sponsor your profile and you pay for it.
Okay, I'm gobsmacked. So, because I always thought it was just they got money from the client side. I didn't realize that they're actually charging for the freelancers to apply more from, all right, they get their 40 Connects, but then if they want more, they have to pay.
Correct.
Wow.
So the flip side of that is the entrepreneur trying to find a freelancer. So I'm an early stage startup. I'm trying to run my sprints. I come in and say I want to build a minimum viable product. and I post that as a request, I get 60 applications just for a logo to be created.
Yeah.
Time is my scarcest resource. I go over 60 applications. I just go ahead and do it myself in Canva.
Well, yeah, because you have to go through all those 60 applications, and I've been there, I've done that. It just takes time, and you just think, I don't know. They all sound the same. They all look great, but
Correct.
I don't know. But, because you get a real feel for someone when you actually then have to talk to them or connect with them. And when you
Exactly.
get 60 applications, it's just, where do you start?
Correct. And then this guy that I've faced this, there's a guy, I like this guy, amazing work, but he's like 10x my budget.
Yes.
So
Which doesn't work for a startup.
I've got to filter, spend like 3-4 hours filtering, and then I'll invite them to calls, interview them, verify this is the person I want to work with. And then when I hire them, I'm still holding my breath because I don't know if this is going to work out.
Yeah, you don't know if everything that you put out was legit or,
Correct. So I'm not, so, and 9 out of 10 startups fail. And so a lot of the media talks about success stories.
Mm-hmm.
It's everywhere, but nobody talks about the early stages where the magic really happens. Where
I don't know about magic, but yes, it's.
I like to call it magic. It's how I felt with Taotter, getting us to the next stage, growing our team from just the co-founders and I, and one core team member. Her name is Valerie. She's been with us from day one. That's 1.5 years ago.
But I'm just curious because you didn't really answer my question about the light bulb moment. Why you felt this was your destiny. This is what you really want. You wanted to take up the challenge and run with it. And then how did you meet your co-founders as well?
Sure. Well, the light bulb moment was that the care that I've had because I've experienced it. I've experienced being in a family where there was an immigrant.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to help resolve that. I want to help talent who is offshore, provide them with opportunities.
I hear you, but when did that? You know what? Bing, you should be doing. That little voice in the back of your head went, you should do a website.
Right. Well, that was when I've been working with startups. We're delivering programs. I'm working with Lean Stack, Ashmoria. We're delivering programs, and I see these founders. And also over here, I'm involved with the local startup scene, and I see how things are unfolding. And I care about these entrepreneurs too, and I want to help them de-risk their business models, not have to lose money, and also hit their next milestone without breaking the bank or breaking investors' banks. So that was the light bulb moment. I said, because I've been sending these entrepreneurs to Upwork and Fiverr, and then they're coming back to me with the same issues that I thought only I faced being a client there.
Yeah.
And then I realized they're spending more time their scarcest resource. And so I started manually matching them to talent in the Philippines. And when it was working out.
So
it was a series.
It was a series, but there was a point where you went, you know what? I'm going to start helping and not do the usual where I recommend Fiverr or Upwork, etc., etc. I'm going to look and look for my own talent.
Very iterative process and a series of it. So when I figured that, okay, it's working out, I could handpick the talent for them.
But, all right. But in my head, I'm hearing that, when you were looking up Upstart, you were taking ages to find these people. Was there a process that you had to go through to find the right people? Even though you're starting with the Philippines and you're looking for talent there, that must have been a journey, and that must have taken quite a lot of time to find the right people. And did you end up having a spreadsheet or like a questionnaire that you would ask these people?
I'm fortunate to have gone to the University of the Philippines, and it's a very good community of talented people. And I'm still involved as an alum. So that was my primary channel, it wasn't that difficult because it was
Okay.
available for me.
So you knew that university produced good students, and you had contacts, and you could literally go to that resource and say, hey, this is my need, can you deliver? Or, you know, what students can you recommend?
Correct. And also we had a shared culture because I went there, and shared culture, shared mindset. So it was a bit easier. I'm fortunate on that end.
So have you used that for, because you mentioned at the beginning that you operate in different countries.
Correct.
Have you used the same model in other countries where you've just gone to universities and said, hey, I want to know what your best and brightest students are?
We are looking into these partnerships right now with educational institutions in Lebanon and Egypt, and we'll be exploring Palestine and elsewhere.
But I want to ask, okay, look, your website is for entrepreneurs, startups to find talent, to bring on board, to build MVP, product, service, etc. But because they haven't been in the workforce, you know, they haven't experienced certain things. So is there, all right, I understand that, you know, you're finding talent that won't cost you an arm and a leg, but do they not lack experience that you might need as a startup, as an entrepreneur?
Well, I think I've put it wrongly. It's not just students,
Okay,
or
right.
fresh graduates.
But how do you find the others then? If it's not just, how do you?
In the beginning, it wasn't hard. We just launched today, so we're looking about, go-to-market plan to have these scalable channels. But having worked with startups, so we do have a network. Like, for example, we have lawyers who are tax certified to help Delaware C corporations. We have accountants.
Okay, sorry to interrupt, but okay, you have lawyers, you have accountants, etc. But how do you know that they're offering the right service? How do you know that they're the right people for the job, for your platform? How do you vet them? Because yes, you might get a lawyer that's got years and years and years of experience, but when actually he comes to the table, he might not communicate in the right way. He might not understand what a startup or an entrepreneur is.
Sure.
And it's just like, no, we don't need you. All right, you come with so many years of experience, but you're not the right type of person for us.
Correct. I love this question. The right type of person is always subjective, but the way that we try to, so when a freelance talent or professional comes in and wants to create a profile in Taotter, it's not like Upwork where you could just pull up a profile and fill out and then upload your ID and you're verified.
Yeah.
So what talent does in Taotter is they go through a series of programs where we kind of share the lean mindset, continuous innovation framework, the needs of early stage founders, and where they should be focused. So when an entrepreneur comes into Taotter and posts a request and says, I want to build a mobile app, here comes an account manager or a project manager who's gone through and exhibited. So they also do a test before their profile is published and exhibits an understanding of the mindset of OKRs, running sprints, validating your business model before you go ahead and go all in. So they look at that and say, and assess it and say, does this entrepreneur really need a mobile app at this stage? And suggests. And then you receive, as an entrepreneur, filtered bids that are relevant to your request and the stage you're at. In Upwork, when you create a profile as a client, you just put in your name, your credit card details, verify that, and at Taotter, you fill in a business model canvas or a lean canvas as your profile. You write down the milestones that you're trying to achieve right now, milestones you have achieved, your funding stage, how big your current team is. So I, as a freelancer, would know that it doesn't make sense to ask this founder for $10,000, and he's bootstrapping and barely a year old. And here's his business model.
There's a few questions that have popped up. That sounds fantastic. That sounds great. But you mentioned that if you've got an entrepreneurial startup that's asking for something that he might not need, how can a freelancer or an expert let him know that I don't think you're at the right stage? Because what you went through sounds very much like if someone has been in an incubation center and has gone through various milestones. What about the entrepreneur or the startup that hasn't got a clue about anything? It's just got this crazy idea and he's run with it. He sees there's a opportunity in the market, has none of that experience of doing a business plan, etc., and just thinks, okay, no, I feel I want this. Does your platform help that kind of character as well? So there's two questions. There's the one question is like, if there's an entrepreneur that's following the right stages, but then he feels he needs an app, but the experts say, no, you don't need it right now. Is there a way of letting that person know? And what about the entrepreneur startup like myself? They didn't have a clue what I was doing, but I just saw there was an opportunity in the market.
Right. Well, for the first question, they suggest, but of course, at the end of the day, you call the shots as the entrepreneur and decide whether or not you still want to build a mobile app. So
he can get feedback from people. There is a way of communicating, because
there is.
That's what I find with the freelance platforms, is that you can only communicate with people once you've put your request in or you've chosen the freelancer that you want to work with.
I love that you're asking that, because we are seeing Taotter as more than just an outsourcing marketplace. We have in the rollout right now.
I hear it. It's not just an outsourcing platform. I hear it's much, much more, which is great.
Thank you so much. It's linked to your second question, and we want to build a community. So if you're coming in and you haven't gone through an incubation program and clueless as to what it is like to start or run and build a startup, we've created, we have we're just calling it a news feed right now, but it's like a forum where you post in your questions or your updates, and other entrepreneurs can come in and comment. And also, so you decide when you're posting, do I want the whole community to see this? Do I just want startups to see this, or do I want just the talents to see this? You could post a question, post a request.
Nice. And they will get feedback from fellow entrepreneurs as well as the freelancers that are on the platform.
Yes.
Because there used to be, actually about 6 years ago, I was contacted by, I'm not sure if it was an Instagram or if it was a WhatsApp group that for entrepreneurs around the world, that literally you could help each other just by, if you had a question, just throw it out there. Because, and that's something else that's just popped up in my head, is that going on that entrepreneurial journey, going on that startup journey, there is a mindset that, no, I should be able to do everything myself. It shows a form of weakness because I'm having to ask, I should be knowing what I'm doing, etc. Do you find that do you have to pull it out of some entrepreneurs to say, no, look, if you're going to succeed, you need help, you need to build a team?
Absolutely. And no matter how great you are, you just can't ever do it all. And if you are looking about growing, there's nothing wrong being a solo entrepreneur and growing a business alone and doing it if that's what you're after. But if you want to scale and you want to really do something that's impactful, you really need to have help, people who would rally around the vision, share it with you, and roll their sleeves up and be with you. You just can't do it alone.
No. And then something else popped into my head, the fact that you're helping entrepreneurs and startups to build their team, find the right relevant freelancers, but also you're on that same journey.
Correct.
which must be a bit weird because you're all on the same kind of journey. You know, their success is your success, and you know, you building the platform and making it bigger, adding more services is, you know, beneficial for them, but also it's beneficial for you. So do you call upon your network as well?
Yes.
Because you can't be seen as, well, I'm the expert, I know what I'm doing, I don't need anyone's help, but you're quite open to say, no, look, I'm on this same journey as well.
Absolutely. I tell them, and most of them actually are very supportive, and these are the kinds of early adopters that you want to have in the beginning, those who believe in our platform is buggy, it's new. Shout out to our CTO. Hey, Kester. But it is the point of an MVP for us to understand, to hear what our customers would feel about it. The vision is firm, so we just roll it out and try to understand. We're still there supporting them in other channels where it's comfortable for them. They're supporting us too. They're coming in and saying, you know, here's room for improvement. And we have a Slack channel now that we've just put up where everybody's just helping everybody.
Which is great. Which is, you know, it sounds perfect. It just sounds like you've got the right community around you that are all there to support each other, but also to support you as the main platform. It's not like, you know, we put this platform out, it's the best than anyone else, and we don't, you know, this is how we work, this is how we do things. You're like, no, we've created this for you guys, and we're still creating it, we're still building on it, and we need your input as well as we're here to help you along the way. We're
building with them.
Yeah,
that's what we're trying to do. And that's another lesson learned, being very honest, and you get help when you ask for it.
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't get anything if you don't ask.
Correct. If you know, if the arrogance is there and you always say, no, I'm going to do it myself, and then you just go in stealth mode and build and build and build, and then you run out.
I'm just curious, have you had those kind of characters come on the platform and you think, because you must see from your experience, you think, okay, I think, yeah, you've got the character, you've got the passion, you've got the ability, or, you know, you're willing to work with people, and then you've got the other characters that you know, blinkered, and you think, if you carry on the way you are, I don't think you're gonna.
Correct, but it's not for us to.
No, I know
to say, right?
I know, but yes. Wise old you, who's gone through everything, is building this platform, must see.
Yes.
Yeah.
we see them, and also here's another way that we're protecting our freelancers, just to share that there are instances when we've had clients cross the line of respect, who come in and, you know, they outsource and then are disrespectful. We don't blink twice to fire such clients.
Nice. So you do it either way. So if you've got a bad freelancer, you can just blacklist them. Do you call it blacklisted?
We don't have a term for it yet, but
blacklisted. And then you can do it on the client's side as well, because you don't want a reputation of having a platform of bad clients that, you know, abuse the freelancers. So you're very strict. And is there like a document that people have to read before they sign into the website, an agreement?
Yes,
that clearly states.
Correct. And you know, startups reading at the early stage, reading the fine print, I doubt, but we are explicit about it because right now it's still very small. So when they come in, we do a demo, we explain what the vision is, and we get a feel for the founder. This is somebody who wants to do something, very good character, so it makes sense. And then if we were proven wrong when they come in later on, then we deal with it.
Good. I'm just curious, from a marketing point of view, how are you getting the word out there? Apart from being on podcasts, how are you getting the message out there that you're here? All right, you launched the website officially yesterday.
Correct.
Yes. So what's the plan? What's the roadmap?
The roadmap right now is we still have our personal networks, co-founders and I, and then we are looking at partnerships with incubators globally where the early stage startups are. There's churn there where does not necessarily mean you got into the incubator, you're the ones who are going to succeed. It's just simply this cohort is simply the ones they put their bets on. But there are also amazing ones who didn't get the chance or the opportunity to be in the group and incubated. So we could help those.
But do incubators not see you as a kind of a threat, like a competition?
A partner.
So they can see you as a partner. But do they not get a bit funny, like, oh no, that's not our process of having startups run through our, we have this process and we do it A, B, C, D, and your process is a little bit different. How?
Here's something that's very interesting. We've also done our market research, customer validation, and co-founders are working with incubators. I'm not going to say for how long, but for a very long time, because they'll say I'm calling them old. But they
24, 25, yeah.
Yeah, they 6 months.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they've been working with incubators and they understand the pain points. And when we've done our validation and spoken to them in not just in the region, but globally, we've spoken to incubators and accelerators elsewhere too. And we see a similar pain point, which is they have a portfolio to manage. The job to be done is to support these entrepreneurs, because either they've invested or investors have invested in these startups. They want them to succeed, and they are struggling to outsource. So when they hear about us and they know that, okay, here's talent that's equipped and informed on what we've been working really hard to inform the startups on, and that's budget fit at the stage they're at, they get excited. We'll see when pen is put into paper. So
Nice. I'm just curious, how do you get your money, basically? Where's the money coming from?
We are a marketplace, so we have a take rate from every transaction that happens within the platform. That's on average 20%. We have a whole structure as to how we mark up each transaction, because some are hourly, some are fixed rate gigs, some are subscriptions where I would subscribe to get a social media manager on a retainer. So that's another one. So on average, our take rate is 20%, standard marketplace take rate.
And what stops people, because I'm always curious, what's, technology, internet, etc., what stops the client from going around your system and contacting them directly? They might just do a simple, they say, okay, look, I found the right person through your website. I'm going to get him to do one small bit that I need, and then I'll skip your system because I'm already talking to him.
Exactly.
And I'll find out, I can get a cheaper rate, etc., etc.
Yes.
How does that?
It is happening everywhere, and it is inevitable to happen. And the way that we go about it is the community and the relationship that we are working really hard to build with, because it all stems from there. We're serious about us caring about the startups hitting their milestones. We are serious about helping these freelancers not just be freelancers, but also become entrepreneurs and continuously grow. We have ongoing engagements with them. We have trainings. We have sessions where we could co-work. We host these Zoom meetings where they come in and you just have your microphone muted, camera on, and you're working with other freelancers in the network. So it's up to you. We all are motivated differently, but you lose that.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask, is if you find out, so if the freelancer is contacted by the client outside and he reports that client, do you then go, okay, you're not for this platform? Or do you give him a warning? Or
we haven't really gone there.
No, but
will. I'm pretty sure we will.
Yes, you will.
Yes, we will. And we haven't really decided how we're going to deal with it, but just I personally, I'm not speaking for Taotter. I personally, it's their choice. personal choice. There's always, I believe in, in the good of the people, and there's always going to be this community that, that's going to benefit from it, where we all benefit from one another. Another thing that we're looking at right now is when you're a freelancer, you don't have HMO, you don't, your social security is not paid for. Sometimes you have to buy your own insurance. We're not there yet per se, because we're at pre-seed, but we're looking at that. We want to help them find stability without having to go through a corporation or try and work your way and climb the corporate ladder just to have stability and later on get your gratuity. So we're looking at partnerships on that front, so we could help secure them, get educational plans for their children if they have any loans that might work for them. So this is like all in the horizon.
Well, no, I see it. It's endless. It can go on and on and on. But you've got the right heart for it. You're not just doing it for money's sake.
No.
You're literally doing it for the good of the people.
Absolutely. Yes.
No.
My investors may not all be happy to hear this, but yes.
No, I've met your partners, and yes. I think they're on the same line as you.
Yes.
So, no, it sounds great, and it does sound like it just can continue to get bigger and bigger, and much more to offer for the freelancer and the client.
Absolutely. We're on for the infinite game. I don't know if you've read the book, Simon Sinek, The Infinite Game. So we're on for that. We're not doing this. We want this change that hopefully we can make to live beyond us. So when we do pass, or we all will pass, right? So
well, you've got many years. I'm closer to you, but closer to the final line than you are.
we don't know that.
No, that's true. Very true. Very true. Yeah.
But we want it to live beyond us, and those that we are fortunate to be working with right now and who are supporting us, and will know about that. And my hopes inside of me is that they carry on, maybe in other ways. Maybe it's not the outsourcing marketplace. Maybe next year I'm back and telling you that, Stefan, we've changed the business model entirely. Doesn't matter. The why remains and the vision remains.
Yeah.
And money will come.
Just thinking, what about doing bank transfers, transactions, etc., etc.? Has that been a process? And you want to be a global website, so how easy or how hard has that been? It's
not been hard because we are a Delaware C corporation, so we're using Stripe.
Okay. Oh, okay.
To automate collection and payouts. We have different methods. We have PayPal. There's direct to your bank account transfer for payouts.
And because you're locally based, has that been any issue?
It hasn't. Again, we're a U.S. company, right. So it's if somebody in the region or in the country wants to shop from us, it's just like you're buying from Amazon.
Oh, okay. Very good. Well, thank you, Sophie. It's been enlightening, and it's been fascinating, and I wish you all the success this time for this journey, because I definitely feel that you're on the right path now. Although you were on the right path the last time, but no, I definitely feel it's coming from the heart. It's not something that you're going to give up easily. It's something that's going to grow. It's something that you've literally planted, and I can see, how it's blossoming at the very beginning to becoming this huge, big tree.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm also, if I could say, so proud of you, the change that I've seen. I've always enjoyed talking to you, but even more so when I've spoken to you a few months back and today. So I am very happy to have announced our launch here for the first time. We haven't written a single post that we're live.
Oh, superb. Does that force me to have to put this podcast out?
No, not at all.
Before everyone else?
No, but I'm gonna make a post saying that that we did it here, and I really intended to do it here. I've told the team, and I've said that is because I felt sincerity in you and your passion, and another thing I admire and respect so much about you is that you care deeply about the people who work with you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And
Thank you, Sophie.
I've seen that, and in return they care about you back too.
Oh, look, you're going to make me cry.
No, but
No,
I
thank you.
really admire that.
Thank you.
So thanks.
Right, we're on this journey together, and
We are.
I really appreciate those words. Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you, guys. Thank you for watching. Remember, this podcast has been sponsored by Cards in Qatar, the #1 birthday card, greeting cards website, and Mahaba, the #1 destination guide. Have a great week, and we'll catch up with you next week. Thank you.